Let me show you a graph that scares every statistician who looks at it. For decades, mental health metrics among teenagers were relatively stable. You had ups and downs, sure, but the trend lines were predictable. Then comes the year 2012. Suddenly, across the United States, the UK, Canada, and Australia, the lines don't just curve upward. They go vertical. Hospital admissions for self-harm among young girls? Up 134%. Depression rates skyrocketing. Suicide rates for young men reaching historic highs. Something invisible broke in our collective timeline around 2012. So what happened? Was it a global economic crash? No. Was it a massive geopolitical crisis? Not really. The suspect is hiding in your pocket right now. This isn't just a story about kids these days. This is the story of the Great Rewiring. It's about how we agreed to a radical experiment on the human brain without ever reading the terms of service. We assumed that giving a supercomputer to a primate and then connecting that primate to every other primate on Earth, 24 hours a day, would have zero cost. We were wrong. If you have ever felt your own attention span shattering or felt that low-level hum of anxiety when your phone isn't within reach, then you are part of this data set too. In the next 20 minutes, we are going to crack open the work of social psychologist Jonathan Haidt. We are going to treat this like a crime scene investigation. We will uncover the biological evidence, the economic motives of the tech giants, and most importantly, we will find the way out. Because this isn't just about understanding the trap. It's about how to escape it. To understand the crime, we have to understand what was stolen. And to do that, we need to look at the concept of opportunity cost. Economists love this term. It basically means, if you spend an hour doing this, you cannot spend that same hour doing that. The loss of that is the cost. Before 2012, childhood was defined by what Jonathan Haidt calls a play-based childhood. It was physical. It was embodied. It happened in the dirt, on the street, face to face. When you play physically with other kids, you learn to read micro-expressions. You learn negotiation. If you are a jerk, the other kids won't play with you tomorrow. You get immediate, high-fidelity feedback from the real world. But around the early 2010s, specifically with the release of the iPhone 4, exponential growth of Facebook and Instagram users, we saw a mass migration. We moved from a play-based childhood to a phone-based childhood. The scariest part? It happened silently. The playgrounds didn't disappear, they just went quiet. The kids were still there physically, but their consciousness had migrated to a virtual server owned by a corporation in Silicon Valley. This is the great displacement. The phone didn't just add a new activity to our lives, it displaced the fundamental building blocks of human development. It pushed out sleep. It pushed out sunlight. It pushed out the awkward, risky, necessary process of learning how to talk to strangers. We traded the real world, which is full of friction but builds resilience, for a virtual world, which is frictionless but breeds anxiety. But here is the twist. Why did this hit teenagers so much harder than adults? Why did a 14-year-old in 2012 shatter while a 40-year-old just got a bit distracted? The answer lies in a biological process happening inside the skull called pruning. And if you don't understand this mechanism, you cannot protect your brain or your child's brain. Let's look under the hood. So, why are teenagers the primary victims here? To answer that, we need to destroy a common myth. Most people think puberty is just about hormones and body hair. It's not. It is actually a massive construction project happening inside the brain. Neuroscientists call this period a window of sensitive critical periods. Think of the brain like a house. In childhood, you build the rooms, but in adolescence, you do the wiring. Between the ages of 10 and early 20s, the brain undergoes a process called synaptic pruning. It is brutal but efficient. The brain looks at the neural pathways you aren't using and literally cuts them away. It deletes them to save energy. At the same time, it reinforces the pathways you are using. It wraps them in a fatty substance called myelin. This turns slow, dirt road connections into high-speed fiber optic cables. This is myelination. Here is the danger. This system works on a use-it-or-lose-it principle. If you spend your teenage years playing sports, reading deep books, and having face-to-face conversations, your brain builds superhighways for focus, social intelligence, and emotional regulation. It cements those skills for life. But if you spend those critical years scrolling through 15-second videos, constantly switching context, and obsessing over likes, your brain says, okay, this is what we do now. It paves the superhighways for distraction. It paves the highways for anxiety. And it prunes away the ability to sit still and think deeply. We didn't just give kids a toy. We dropped a distraction machine into their hands exactly when their brains were pouring the concrete for their adult personalities. But a vulnerable brain is only half the problem. You need a weapon to attack it. And in Silicon Valley, engineers discovered a psychological trick that would keep us glued to the screen forever. Let's introduce the weapon. It wasn't invented by Apple or Google. It was discovered in the 1930s by a psychologist named B.F. Skinner. He put pigeons and rats inside a box with a lever. If the rat pressed the lever and got food every time, the rat eventually got bored. It only pressed when it was hungry. But if the rat pressed the lever and got food only sometimes, randomly, the rat went crazy. It pressed the lever obsessively, over and over again, until it collapsed from exhaustion. This is called a variable reward schedule. It is the most addictive pattern known to behavioral science. It is the exact same logic used in slot machines in Las Vegas, and is the exact logic behind the pull to refresh feature on your phone. Think about it. When you pull down on Instagram or TikTok, there's a tiny pause, the wheel spins, and then boom. Do you get a funny video? A catastrophic news headline? A message from a crush? Or nothing? You don't know. And that uncertainty triggers a spike of dopamine in your brain before you even see the content. The anticipation is the drug. Social media took this slot machine mechanic and added a toxic new layer: social quantification. Before 2012, social acceptance was vague. You felt it in a smile or a handshake. But social media quantified human worth. It turned friendship into a high-score game. Suddenly, a 13-year-old girl isn't just posting a photo. She is entering a beauty pageant where the judges are anonymous, the voting is public, and the score is updated in real time. If she gets 100 likes, she feels a hit of euphoria. If she gets 10, she feels a crash of shame. She deletes the post. She questions her worth. This feedback loop, variable rewards combined with social judgment, hacked the ancient social drives of our species. It turned the smartphone into a master puppeteer. But did someone know this was happening? Did the people built these apps know they were playing with fire? The answer is yes. In fact, their entire business model depended on it. Now we need to follow the money. Why is the software designed this way? Why is the stop cue removed from Instagram? Why does YouTube auto-play the next video by default? The answer is simple, but the implications are terrifying. You have heard the saying, if you are not paying for the product, you are the product. But that is not quite right. You are the carcass. The product is your attention, and the customer is the advertiser. This is the attention economy. In this economy, there's only one metric that matters to the shareholders of Meta, TikTok, or Google: time on device. Every minute you spend looking at a tree, or talking to your spouse, or staring at the ceiling in deep thought, is a minute of revenue lost by Silicon Valley. Their fiduciary duty is to extract every possible second of your conscious life. To do this, they didn't just hire coders. They hired experts in persuasion. They hired casino designers. They weaponized the smartest minds in the world to hack the most vulnerable parts of yours. Tristan Harris, a former design ethicist at Google, puts it this way: is not a fair fight. Imagine you are sitting at a chessboard. On your side, it's just you. You are tired. You had a long day. You have limited willpower. On the other side of the board is a supercomputer. It knows every move you have ever made. It knows exactly what image will make you angry. It knows exactly what video will make you laugh. And it runs millions of simulations a second to figure out the perfect move to keep you playing. Do you really think you can win that game just by trying harder? This is not a failure of willpower. It is an asymmetry of power. And the collateral damage of this business model isn't just wasted time. It is the fragmentation of the human mind. Let's talk about the cost of that time on device. It's not just that we are distracted. It's that we have forgotten how to focus. We have convinced ourselves that we are good at multitasking. We think we can watch a movie, text a friend, and answer an email at the same time. But neuroscience is clear. Multitasking is a myth. The brain cannot do two cognitive tasks at once. It can only rapid switch. And every time you switch, you pay a switching tax. Research from Dr. Gloria Mark at UC Irvine shows that when you are interrupted by a notification, a ringtone, or even a sudden urge to check your phone, it takes, on average, 23 minutes to get back to the same level of deep focus. 23 minutes. Now look at your day. How often do you go 23 minutes without a single interruption? For most people, the answer is never. We are living our lives in 3-minute chunks. Our attention span looks like Swiss cheese. This constant state of continuous partial attention makes it impossible to enter a state of flow. Flow is that deep, satisfying zone where time disappears and you do your best work. It's where creativity lives. It's where complex problems are solved. But flow requires sustained, unbroken concentration. By allowing the attention economy to slice our time into confetti, we are losing our ability to do deep work. We are becoming shallow thinkers in a complex world. And for the anxious generation, kids who grew up with a phone in their hand, this is catastrophic. They aren't just losing the ability to focus, they are losing the ability to sit with themselves. When the screen turns off, the silence is terrifying. So they turn it back on. This investigation brings us to a massive contradiction. If parents are so worried about their kids, why do they let this happen? The answer is the safety paradox. Think about how we parent today compared to the 1980s. In today's real world, we became obsessed with safety. We banned unsupervised play. We tracked them with GPS. We sanitized the playgrounds and removed the tall slides because a kid might break an arm. We decided that the physical world was too dangerous. But at the exact same moment we were locking the front door, we opened a digital back door that was infinitely more dangerous. We wouldn't let a stranger talk to our 10-year-old at the park. But we happily let an algorithm, designed by strangers, track their every move, feed them diet pills, and expose them to graphic violence in their bedroom at 2 a.m. We overprotected them in the real world, and we underprotected them in the virtual world. This brings us to a crucial concept from Nassim Taleb, which Haidt uses heavily: anti-fragility. A porcelain cup is fragile. If you drop it, it breaks. A plastic cup is resilient. If you drop it, it stays the same. But a human being is anti-fragile. We are like the immune system. We actually need germs, friction, and small risks to get stronger. When kids play outside and scrape their knees or resolve a fight without an adult interfering, they are building emotional antibodies. They learn that I can get hurt and survive. But when we move childhood onto a screen, we remove the physical friction. There are no scraped knees in the metaverse, but there is psychological devastation. We traded broken bones for broken spirits. And frankly, a bone heals in 6 weeks. Anxiety can last a lifetime. So, we are living in a digital environment designed to make us fragile, distracted, and anxious. How do we fight back? We could wait for the government to pass laws. We could wait for billionaires to grow a conscience. But I wouldn't hold my breath. We need a solution now. And surprisingly, the best operating system for the digital age was written 2,000 years ago in Rome. Enter Stoicism. The Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius didn't have an iPhone, but he dealt with constant interruptions, rumors, and chaos. His entire philosophy rests on one pillar, the dichotomy of control. There are things up to us and things not up to us. The algorithm? Not up to you. The news cycle? Not up to you. The hateful comment on your post? Not up to you. But your judgment of these things? Your decision to pick up the phone? Your ability to sit in silence? That is up to you. The Stoics speak of the internal citadel, a fortress inside your mind that external chaos cannot breach unless you let it. Right now, most of us have left the drawbridge down. We let every notification march right into our castle and demand our attention. Applying Stoicism to digital life means reclaiming that gate. It means realizing that your attention is the only thing you truly own. When you scroll mindlessly, you're handing the keys of your citadel to a stranger. This isn't about being an anti-technology Luddite. It's about being a master rather than a slave. As the Stoic Epictetus said, if you want to be free, do not wish for anything that depends on others. In 2026, if your peace of mind depends on your feed, you are not free. So we have the philosophy. But how do we apply it when your kid is the only one in class without a smartphone? This is what economists call a collective action problem. It's like a stadium where everyone stands up to get a better view. If you sit down, you can't see anything. So everyone stands, everyone is uncomfortable, and nobody sees any better. Parents are trapped in this loop. They don't want to give their 10-year-old a smartphone, but they don't want their child to be socially isolated. The only way to break the loop is to coordinate. Jonathan Haidt proposes for simple norms to end the arms race. 1. No smartphones before high school. Give them a basic flip phone for emergencies. 2. No social media until 16. 3. Phone-free schools. Not just in the bag, but locked away. 4. More independence, free play, and responsibility in the real world. This sounds impossible, but the tide is turning. Movements like Wait Until 8th are spreading. Schools are banning phones and seeing test scores go up and bullying go down. We are waking up from a hangover. We are realizing that the smart choice is actually to disconnect. But this isn't just about kids. It's about you. You can't tell a child to get off the screen if you are doom scrolling at the dinner table. You have to lead the resistance. The smartphone is the most powerful tool ever invented. It holds the sum of human knowledge. But a tool is only useful if you use it. If it uses you, it is not a tool. It is a cage. We cannot uninvent the technology. Pandora's box is open. But we can decide that human biology is more important than digital engagement. The Great Rewiring of 2012 was an accident. We drifted into it, but the solution must be intentional. It turns out The answer to the anxious generation isn't more apps or better medication or AI therapists. The answer is the real world. It's sunlight. It's sleep. It's looking someone in the eye without a screen in between. The signal is calling. It's time to hang up. I have a question for you. Think back to your own life before 2012 and compare it to now. What is the one specific thing, a hobby, a feeling, a capability, that you feel the smartphone has stolen from you? Let me know in the comments below. I read the best insights. If you want to understand the hidden forces shaping our world, make sure you are subscribed. Thank you for deep thinking with us.